Hi everybody, welcome to the 4 to 5 Friday edition. Eric, Chad, and Lauren with you today. We made it to the end of the week.
Happy Friday! I gotta say, Eric, you've been spoiling us the last couple of days. With the weather,
Good weather.
the beautiful
He was being
forecast.
nice to us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, he's always
never.
nice to me.
And all good things come to an end.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Kind of the way it is. Yeah, it's a rainy Saturday and kind of a shock to the system. Only day of the 7-day that we're below normal is tomorrow. After that, we bounce back again. Let's go ahead and talk about it because lots of changes over the next few days. It looks like we'll see these temperatures start to drop down pretty quickly. In fact, I think we'll be in the 40s, I think, for pretty much all day on Saturday. Kind of crazy that we were 81 degrees the other day. Now we're going to be in the 40s, but welcome to North Carolina. 64 in Greensboro, 69 in Burlington right now, Asheboro at 68. We have 67 in High Point and Winston 66. Got some 50s in the higher elevations of the mountains. Here are the 40s we talked about, dropping down to the low 40s tonight. The rain moving in some cases as we speak. We'll show you the radar in just a moment. And then tomorrow up to only 45. It's just kind of a cold and dreary day. On again, off again, showers. When you see it on the Futurecast, everything just kind of moves basically straight west to east, right across the Triad, and it's just kind of a continual line of shower activity. Got a couple of sprinkles even happening now. You can see it just here or there, a lot of it in Iredell County, so down towards Statesville. Moxville might see a little bit of rain here in the next 20 minutes or so, and if you're in the north part of Davie County, you'll see a couple of showers. Here's all that awaits us. This is all moving in our direction. You look at it on the surface chart here, low pressure slowly moving on to the east, but really it's the cooler air that moves in tomorrow. That'll be a shock to the system. Normal high for us mid-50s, and we're only going to make it to the mid-40s tomorrow. That low will pass by, take the rain with it. Really Sunday, we still, things sort of moderate a little bit. Temperatures get a little bit better, but we could see warm weather again next week. In fact, one day on our 7-day, we're back to the 70s again. Keep in mind that normal high, 55 degrees. So Futurecast, I was kind of showing you this just to get the idea of the pattern. So this is midnight tonight, heading into tomorrow. Rain's in place. Now we're at Saturday morning, Saturday midday, Saturday afternoon and evening. So really it may be until about this time tomorrow, maybe a little bit later, another hour or so, that we finally see the rain break. Clouds start to break apart as well, and Sunday looks a lot better, although we're still tracking that next little wave that'll be moving through. So let's take a look at the forecast for tonight. That's a 40-degree overnight low, and we don't change very much heading into tomorrow with your 7-day forecast. 64 though on Sunday, that's not bad. Monday 71, and we're in the 60s for the majority of next week with another rain chance toward Thursday and Friday.
The United States announced additional measures to help Ukraine Friday as the war-torn country marks a year since the full-scale Russian invasion began. Ukraine held a remembrance ceremony today in tribute to all the lives lost since Russia invaded the country a year ago. President Zelensky called the year, quote, the longest day of our lives. Afterwards, he and Poland's prime minister visited wounded soldiers in a military hospital. As the war enters its second year, protesters around the world are calling on Russia to stop the conflict. Today, hundreds of Ukrainians marched in Australia. In Thailand, they sang the Ukrainian national anthem. In Belgium, they lit candles. In Berlin, a bigger show. German activists dumped a destroyed Russian tank outside the embassy. China urged the end of sanctions against Russia and called for a ceasefire. On CBS Morning, Secretary of State Antony Blinken stated that China may provide lethal military aid to Russia while presenting as a neutral party. In a show of support for Ukraine, yellow and blue lights lit the Eiffel Tower in Paris and the Sydney Opera House in Australia.
The war forced many Ukrainians to leave their home country, and some are now living in the Triad. Fred Astaire Dance Studios in Greensboro sponsors 15 Ukrainian ballroom dancers. They've worked at the studio since arriving last July. They say their work has kept their minds off the war back home.
We're just trying to live now and here, take care of our family, trying to switch our brain and not to thinking about what is there.
The dancers are sponsored through the Uniting for Ukraine program, allowing them to stay here for 2 years.
Randolph County Sheriff Greg Seabolt is back on the job following a serious injury in January. Until now, he kept the reason for his hospitalization private while he recovered. He explained he was working on the roof of his home when he fell off the ladder and hit a rock wall. Seabolt says he didn't know how badly he was injured at first. He tried to finish the job but couldn't due to the pain. His daughter took him to the ER where he learned he had 2 broken ribs. A week into recovery, the pain increased, forcing him to need surgery.
They went ahead and did a CT scan and it showed that I had a punctured lung. The spleen was up in an unusual spot where I'd pushed it, and the large intestine was basically dead. Had a partially punctured lung, which he dealt with, and after that, I stayed on the ventilator for 3 days.
Yesterday was Sheriff Seabont's first full day back at work, but he's not working a full schedule this time. Coming back, he says he has been overwhelmed with support from the community and fellow officers.
That made me feel good. The number of calls, the number of cards that I received. I received a card from a detention officer, which is the lowest paid position in this department. And the card was from an officer who sent me $20. And that, brought tears to my eyes.
Glad he's doing better. His family says it will take months for him to fully recover, so until then, he will be working part-time in the office and from home.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up, it was a scary car ride for the state speaker of the House last night after a truck hit his vehicle several times. Tim Moore says he was on his way back to Raleigh with the Capitol police officer, a staffer, and another lawmaker when a truck hit them from behind several times. This happened on I-87 in Wake County as they were driving from Wilson. Highway Patrol says the officer who was driving their vehicle then pulled over that truck. They arrested the driver from Goldsboro. He's now facing several charges, including driving while impaired. Investigators do not believe anyone in the vehicle was a target.
Greensboro police are looking for the driver who hit and killed a pedestrian on Wendover Avenue last night. It happened at the intersection of Wendover and English Street at 8, right by United Friendship Church. Officers say a 55-year-old woman was crossing Wendover Avenue when a dark-colored sedan heading westbound hit her. The woman died at the hospital. Police are still looking for the suspect's vehicle. Call Crime Stoppers if you have any information. Remember, you can leave an anonymous tip. In Burlington, 2 men are recovering after a stabbing early this morning. Police say it happened after a fight at the Burlington Food Hall on Front Street. They say the suspect got away, but investigators are still trying to figure out what started the fight. If you know any information, call 911.
Former South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh, who's charged with murdering his wife and son, spent a second day on the witness stand, facing hours of cross-examination.
The prosecutor grilled Alex Murdaugh on Thursday's courtroom bombshell when the once prominent South Carolina attorney admitted to lying about the last time he saw his wife and son.
You were at the murder scene with the victims just minutes before they died.
It was Murdaugh's second day on the witness stand, where he acknowledged stating that lie in his first interview with police, blaming paranoid thinking.
When I got to thinking in that paranoid way, it didn't go away in a matter of seconds. And I decided to lie.
The prosecution took Murdaugh through a minute-by-minute timeline of his activities the night of the murders, suggesting he was busy creating an alibi.
I never manufactured any alibi in any way, shape, or form because I did not and would not hurt my wife and my child. So I know for a fact that I never, ever, ever created an alibi.
Murdaugh also talked about his struggle with opioid addiction, wiping away tears as he described his attempts to quit.
Just detoxing just didn't work.
He blamed that addiction for causing him to steal from his clients for years.
When you're doing the things wrong that I was doing, you have all kind of ways of justifying it. And I'm not saying that makes it right by any means.
The case is likely to go to the jury next week, with Murdaugh facing 30 years to life in prison if convicted. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
In addition to murder, Murdaugh is charged with about 100 other crimes ranging from stealing from clients to tax evasion.
Coming up, sometimes there is an upside to social media use. One man took an unfortunate situation and made the best of his resources. He shares his story of how TikTok supported his journey to literacy. That's after the break. Stick with us.
About 130 million American adults have what are considered low literacy skills. It means they have difficulty reading above a 6th grade level. You've got to see how a 34-year-old who fell into this category was determined to get out of it and help others along the way.
A 7-day fast.
At 34 years old,
At the end of it, we knew we should form.
Oliver James is tackling something he has managed to hide for most of his adult life.
What's up? I can't read.
He is functionally illiterate.
Once I started to realize that the way I'm living my life is harder than most people are living, then I realized I was like, okay, this needs to change.
Inside his white van, Oliver is using TikTok to document his literacy journey.
I wouldn't read in public, and I avoided anything that had to do with reading.
The personal trainer and aspiring motivational speaker's posts have gone viral. Now more than 100,000 people follow him, listening to his every syllable.
If only the grown-ups weren't, I think it's weren't.
As he stumbles, but is determined to finish each page.
What has been the biggest challenge in learning how to read?
The biggest challenge is actually doing it. So, you know, I'm not good at it. For me to get up every day and to just do this, that's been the challenge.
Oliver says it was a lack of a reading foundation from school to home that left him unable to read.
It's a little bit of everyone. If you don't have reading in your household, you're not going to really kind of apply it to your life. You need to have it in your foundation.
His goal this year is to read 100 books. Oliver says he's already reaping the benefits.
I gained something from it. I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a little smarter. Oh my gosh, I know what to do today. Oh my goodness, I know where to go. I know the direction.
And he's hoping to turn a page for his newborn son by giving him the reading foundation he never had. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Great story.
Yep. You know, this got us thinking. We always hear negative things about social media, but what about the good things it could do? So I asked you that on my Facebook page. Here's what you had to say. Joyce said, connecting and reconnecting with family, friends, and college people who live far away. By the way, that was the running theme today. Kathy said, I can stay in contact with my brother and his family in Guatemala. They are missionaries there, and I can see their children, etc. Lee Bell says, when I moved back to South Carolina, it enabled me to reconnect with longtime friends who I'd lost touch with over the years. Phyllis said, seeing my family's remodeling and chatting and seeing them from far away when you can't travel anymore. And that was the theme. I mean, everything was about reconnecting with people that you haven't seen in a long time.
I think that's the biggest thing that most
Probably.
people probably take away from social media. A different perspective, you all know I love to cook. I post a lot of my dishes on social media, so I follow a lot of food pages where I get recipe ideas or learn about different kinds of food or different meal prep ideas. So I follow a lot of that. And then just also a lot of pages that I follow are like words of wisdom, confirmations, encouragement, clips of sermons or clips of TED Talks. I like following those pages
I use
too.
TikTok recipes. You know, sometimes they'll have the quick, edited down, and their family meals, which for us is key to do something quick with a family. So I love that part of TikTok.
That would frustrate me to try to follow along because it is so quick.
It is quick. It's like
You have to pause constantly.
You do.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, keep going.
I was going to say, I really like it for the connecting with people too. You know, I've just lived in a couple of different places like many of us have, and to keep in contact with people who are long distance. In fact, just this week, I was reading something as I was preparing to move, like a letter that I received from like a high school friend back in high school. And so reached out to him on Facebook for the first time in 20 years.
Wow.
Really? That's
We're like
cool.
Facebook friends now, which is
And
wild.
then you guys can chat all the time.
And he lives like in Europe, so yeah.
Wow,
it's
that's
just,
cool.
Speaking of school, my middle school just started a Facebook group called Rip On Middle School Reunion. For our middle school.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
so I was like, that
interesting.
would be really cool if we set something up, but they did it through Facebook.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Chad and I are from such small towns, it's the same people that were in elementary, middle, and high school, right? Isn't that
It's
right?
just the high school reunion.
Yes, that's right, which is everybody. We'll be right back. All right, so listen up. If you are looking for something to do over the next few weeks, you do not have to look very far. There are lots of events surrounding all the tournament action in the Gate City, especially if you're a music fan. I spoke with downtown Greensboro's Zach Matheny to get the details. Zach, this is, I mean, for 3 weeks, we're on fire.
Oh, this is the trifecta.
It is.
This is the trifecta.
So tell me about what's going to happen as far as the concerts go, because you guys have a lot happening around here.
This is really with the women's ACC tournament, the men's ACC tournament, then the NCAA tournament. We wanted to put Greensboro's best foot forward at 113 Brew House, and we're going to have the Breakfast Club from 1 to 5, a free concert to everybody come out and enjoy.
Which is the best 80s, by the way, right? They
Exactly.
do 80s, that's great music. So that's week 1.
Right.
Right, then
we turn right back around the next Saturday at March 18th for the NCAAs, and right here on Elm Street, we're going to have a award-winning #1 hit artist, Michael Ray, who plays country. He's got 3 #1 hits. So it's a big deal, and so we're doing everything we can for our community to come together, but also those coming to the tournament from out of town to showcase what Greensboro's all about.
And see, what I love is the fact that it doesn't matter whether you're a sports fan or not. This is a giant party,
It's
right?
a fun party.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you got to shut down the street and have fun and enjoy and celebrate just all the stuff that's going on.
And when we talk about for 3 weeks solid, we are tournament town. I mean,
Right.
this is probably, is this the most that we've had in a row, do you think, in recent years?
We've done this a few times before, but it's been a while.
Yeah.
So this is our time. And with the ACC and the discussions that we've had throughout the state, we want to show everybody what Greensboro has to offer.
It's a lot of money coming into the area, too.
Tremendous amount of economic impact through sports, and that's what Greensboro has been about. So let's make it happen.
It's perfect. See, you got to be here. You got 3 weeks to choose. Yeah, some of those images was from the last time they did a huge Tourneytown concert, which was Daughtry back in the day.
Wow.
And they videoed his, what was his song, Home? Was that what I think it was called Home, his big hit, and they did the video in Greensboro for it. So some of those images are from back then.
What I love about this is obviously this is a huge sports town, but not everybody's a sports person, so it gives a little bit of everybody to enjoy. You got the music, we're downtown, so there's food, there's sports, there's a lot of different things for people to do.
I am so excited for Greensboro for the Triad for the next month, just because it has been a long time coming. If you remember, we were supposed to have the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament in March of 2020, and obviously the pandemic changed that, and it was devastating to the people who live and work here because they planned so long in advance for this, and then it's taken away. So the NCAA gave it back to us as kind of like a here.
Well, and this is those concerts are free. So you can see Michael Ray totally for free.
We love free, $3.99.
On March 18th, and then that 113 Brew House, where if you've never seen the Breakfast Club and you're an 80s music fan, that's all they do.
Really?
And they are probably the premier 80s tribute band anywhere in the region.
That's
They're
cool.
great.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, as Black History Month comes to an end, March Madness kicks off next week. Basketball fans will soon be filling up the stands at the Greensboro Coliseum. The women's ACC tournament starts on Wednesday and runs through Sunday. Then the following week, it will be the men's turn. The games will bring a big boost to the local economy. City leaders say the tournaments could bring in more than $20 million. This is as fans spend at hotels, shops, and restaurants. The official NCAA March Madness tournament kicks off March 12th right here on WFMY News 2 with Selection Sunday starting at 6. You'll be able to watch who makes it in and who misses the cut for the tournament.
Big changes coming up for us. We'll say goodbye to these temperatures that we're seeing right now. I mean, look at these 60s and in some cases some 70s to the south and the southern Piedmont. Bye-bye to that. We're going to drop down to about 40 degrees tonight, and we think we stay in the low to mid 40s overnight tonight once we get there, and then all day Saturday. We do bounce back a lot on Sunday, but this could be, in fact, should be the only day that we see below normal would be Saturday. Look at this temperature spread, not much, 5 degrees from a low to a high. So tonight's low 40, rain starts to move in. We're actually already seeing some of that. And then 45, that's as warm as we'll get tomorrow. At least winds aren't that bad, but it will be cold and rainy. Getting a couple of sprinkles right now, nothing major, some of that not reaching the ground, but you can see more of this awaits us. And we watch as the low pressure gets here. Notice the cold front sinks to the south. That allows that colder air to filter in. Then that low pressure will skirt across our region tomorrow, and that brings the shower activity for us. Sunday, we moderate a bit temperature-wise, and we get warm again. I mean, next week there's a one day, I'll show you right now in our 7-day forecast, where we see 70s. I mean, pretty amazing the changes here. 45 on Saturday, 60% chance of on again, off again showers during the day. By evening, we hope will be mainly dry. Sunday, 64, Monday, 71, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're in the low to mid 60s with a chance of rain moving back in toward the end of next week.
Charlotte FC surprised the soccer world in 2022 by nearly making the MLS playoffs in its inaugural season. In the playoff this year, they plan to do so in year 2. Opening the season Saturday night, over 60,000 tickets have already been sold. It is the first season the club set a single match attendance record in its first ever home contest, averaged over 3,500 fans or 35,000 fans per match, which was the second most in MLS and doubled the team's value.
Some people think it was a one-year shine, first year. We've used that as motivation throughout this offseason, but I think our fans have too.
Charlotte FC will play New England tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m.
The ball is already rolling for a professional soccer team in High Point. Truist Field could hold professional games as soon as next year, something people like Wollaston have been working on for years. The minor league team would be the first of its kind in the Triad. We'll be right back.
That's the party music.
It's the club music.
That is the party music.
Because
4 to
it's
5.
Friday.
Welcome back.
I almost thought about suggesting that we go outside this half hour again.
No, don't do that.
After yesterday. Did you see it yesterday? It was pouring out.
Pouring, not a drizzle. I thought it was going to be a little sprinkle. It was pouring.
Well,
outside.
in Chad's defense, I didn't even check the radar, so we both were like, yeah, let's go outside. Pouring rain.
At least we had umbrellas.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were like huddled underneath. Yeah, we have a little bit more of that. Let's talk about showers on the way for us. That'll be for tonight and into tomorrow as well. But the heaviest rains, unfortunately, probably coming overnight tonight and throughout most of the day tomorrow. I think by about this time, maybe 5 or 6 p.m. on Saturday, a lot of the rain will have exited the area, and we might see some breaks in the clouds, but pretty much on again, off again all day. Look at the temperatures as we drop from, look at that 62 at 5 p.m., and then we're down to 49 by 2 a.m. The low tonight we're calling for would be 40, even with a high tomorrow of only 45, maybe 46 degrees if we're lucky. This rain moving in really as we speak. I mean, look at the radar. We see some light showers. That's not really the majority of it. If you go out to a wider shot here, you see the low pressure is way back to our south and west, but all of that will stream across the area. And really, it's almost like this line just constantly moves across the Triad during the day on Saturday. You can see that on the high resolution futurecast here. Here's some of the shower activity overnight tonight. That's around midnight-ish toward 1 a.m. More rain as it all streams west to east. This is Saturday afternoon. Now finally, that's Saturday night at about 9 o'clock. Still kind of a mixed bag with clouds out there, but it looks like not as much rain. There still is a slight rain chance on Sunday, but that's only about a 30% chance. You can see that at the end of the high resolution futurecast right there. So we'll be watching for that, but not as great a chance on the second half of the weekend as it will be tomorrow. Cold, rainy Saturday. At least we don't have high winds, so take something good out of that. 45 degrees on Saturday, 60% chance of rain. It's a slight 20% Sunday. Probably not a big deal there, but 64, and we go all the way to 71 by Monday. Still a 30% chance with another system. Fairly dry Tuesday, Wednesday, but all next week we're in the 60s. Remember, our normal highs in the mid 50s, so low to mid 60s Tuesday through Friday. Dry Tuesday, Wednesday, and a slight rain chance comes back in for Thursday and Friday.
If you're like me, you haven't liked looking at your 401k balance. Lately, it's been pretty ugly. New data shows the average 401k balance dropped 20% last year. The difference, more than $25,000. Other retirements also dipped. The study found IRA and 403b accounts shrank as well. A recent survey found most people believe they need more than $1 million to comfortably retire.
Experts say now the Federal Reserve's preferred inflation gauge rose last month at the fastest pace since June. This is an alarming sign, possibly pointing to pressure on the economy, leading to a raise in interest rates. Friday's report from the Commerce Department showed that consumer prices rose 0.6% from December to January, then up sharply from a 0.2% increase from November to December. On a year-over-year basis, prices rose 5.4% up from a 5.3% annual increase in December. January's price data deflated hopes that inflation was steadily coming down.
Don't be surprised if you see the price of orange juice going up over the next couple of weeks. Apparently, storms and disease really impact orchards in Florida the past few years, and now prices are on the rise.
And this is from Greening.
That's from Greening. This fruit's from Greening.
John Barbin is a fourth-generation farmer, and like most other Florida citrus growers, supply is running low.
Supply is going down.
In fact, the USDA projects Florida will have its worst year for citrus production since the Great Depression. Devastating storms in 2022 stripped trees. Hurricane Ian alone led to $250 million in losses, according to the University of Florida. But growers are facing another major problem called citrus greening disease.
Greening is sort of like cancer. Some live with it, others, it gets them in a week.
Greening causes oranges to fall prematurely, and once a tree is infected, there's no cure.
Pre-greening, a tree like this would get you 2 to 3 boxes of oranges. Now, it takes 2 trees just to fill up 1 box.
That is leading to more expensive orange juice at the grocery store. Prices are up 9.1% in the past year, according to Nielsen IQ.
In the state of Florida, they're going to be producing 60% less citrus than what they produced last year.
Patrick Penfield is professor of supply chain management at Syracuse University and expects prices to keep rising.
It's a supply and demand issue. There's just not enough oranges.
I've got two sons.
Barbin now wonders if these groves will hold on for the next generation.
You've told your kids that, hey, listen, maybe this is not going to be around for you.
Yeah, my kids and I, we've had that discussion.
Other growers may be having that same discussion because right now the citrus crisis in Florida seems to have no end in sight. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Sebring, Florida.
It's pretty sad for the farmers there, especially when he was telling his children, this may not be here for you to take over. You know, that's their lifestyle. That's how they make a living. So that's pretty unfortunate.
When I lived in Tampa, you had a little east of Tampa, and that's all it is. It's orange orchards everywhere. I don't know if because Jacksonville, I know Chad lived there for a while, but in the north part of the state, there's not as much of that. But when I would ride through, like you go out into the country and ride through, those orange blossoms on those trees smell like magnolias. Have you ever had like a magnolia bush and that sweet smell? That is it magnolias I'm thinking of? I think it is. And they're beautiful. They smell so, and I can't imagine the heartbreak, because they're generations of farmers. They're nothing but oranges their whole lives.
This is kind of a hard turn in the conversation, but I just wish that orange juice was better for you.
Yeah,
me too.
Like
a lot of sugar in it.
So much sugar, and you think, oh, I'm drinking orange juice. I'm getting, my
Vitamin C.
allotment of vitamin C and fruits. But it's crazy.
You just have to take it in doses, because my sister is a huge orange juice drinker, and growing up she would literally have a glass or two every day, but now that she's older and knows about all the sugar that's in it, it's kind of like her dessert to herself. She'll have like one glass.
I love it, but I put ice in mine. I like ice in my OJ.
I also like making where you do it yourself.
Are you guys, okay, here's a big question. Pulp or no pulp?
Extra pulp.
Oh, see, I'm no pulp.
No pulp.
I like to chew before I'm swallowing.
See, when I'm drinking juice, I want to see. That's what I want to do. I want to drink.
Juice.
I don't want to eat.
And what about soup? All right, we're moving on. All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, there's a meeting in Greensboro tomorrow that you might be interested in. It's a panel that'll talk about Black cultural holidays. The group Juneteenth Greensboro organized it. It starts at 3 p.m. at the Greensboro History Museum. Pageant season is upon us. Miss North Carolina USA and Miss North Carolina Teen USA pageants are this weekend. Preliminaries start tonight at 7:30 in the High Point Theater. New queens will be crowned during the finals tomorrow night.
Middle and high schoolers across North Carolina will be showing off their engineering skills in a statewide competition. The North Carolina Department of Transportation 2023 Model Bridge Building Contest kicks off next week. Working in teams, students present their model bridges to a panel of judges and are scored based on a written report, oral presentation, a design drawing, and the bridge's structural efficiency. The deadline for documents and registration is next Friday. The winner will be announced on April 28th. Starting Monday morning, commuters in Winston-Salem will have a few slowdowns and detours to deal with. It's all due to a system-wide sewer rehabilitation project. Portions of Brookline Street between Dacian Street and Urban Street, as well as Dacian Street from Allen Street to the dead end, will be affected. The detours will be in effect weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. starting Monday, February 7th, through Friday, March 3rd.
As you know, there are so many trendy kitchen appliances out there these days. Tanya is talking about one specific appliance that you might have stored away somewhere, why you should consider dusting it off, and the tasty dishes you might not have considered. Next.
Hello, friends. Hi. Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie. They forever go together. Like an Instapot combination. Instapot during COVID. Everyone's sharing their latest Instant Pot recipes, and now, oh, the Instapot. It may just be sitting somewhere sad and dejected like all those other small appliances.
Gathering dust.
You know what? It
Yes.
sits on top of my refrigerator like a major award.
Yeah, it does.
It never goes
Displayed
away.
on the mantle.
Yes.
All right, well, today I'm here to help all the 4 to 5 folks fall back in love with the Instapot. Are there appliances besides the Instapot that have also gone to the wayside?
My Ninja blender, I was all about drinking smoothies every morning, gonna get fit, gonna get healthy, and then slowly but surely, I probably haven't used it in a few months.
Okay.
The food processor, the little Cuisinart chopping thing that we thought was so cool for about a week.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. About a week.
My toaster oven.
You
I
use your
love the
toaster
toaster
oven.
Heck no. I don't know what
yeah.
I would use it for.
I'm
Oh
just
my gosh,
glad
everything,
that you
really.
wanted to say air fryer,
We don't have one, and I want
because I
one.
was about to debate.
About whether I love my air fryer.
Me too. I
will
use
say
it
that
every day.
All right, so Instapot or Crock-Pot, this is the weekend it makes a comeback. Why? Because it's going to be cold. And don't you think that cold weather just screams
Yes.
Crock-Pot,
It does.
Instant Pot,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
What types of things, friends?
Stews,
Soups.
soups, yeah.
Soups mostly.
You inspired me with my most made crock-pot dish,
Oh,
white chicken chili.
White chicken chili. I love me the white chicken
I do
chili.
too.
She has a great, easy recipe.
So
too.
I think part of the whole Instapot issue, why we have like put it to the wayside and why it's on top of your refrigerator, is that the recipes were supposed to be easy, but they turned out to be like complicated sometimes. And so you might want to be reminded that really easy is best.
Instapots, multi-cookers are meant to make life easier and make cooking easier. So the best way to utilize them is to stick to what they do best. So think about tough cuts of meats, beans, stews, soups, and curries. Those are great in these small kitchen appliances. If you own an Instant Pot, think about investing in a couple accessories. They're very affordable and it really helps your Instant Pot go to the next level. One of my favorites is the air frying lid.
So there's an air frying lid. Now here's the thing that I wanted to show you about the Instant Pot. There's a yogurt button.
I've seen that
You can make homemade yogurt. Now I gotta tell you, my mom does this. She doesn't have an Instant Pot. She does it with a crock pot. But you pour milk into jars, you put the pot in, you put the pots in there with the water, and overnight it cooks and it makes your own yogurt.
That is really
So
neat.
you have less sugar, it is not processed, and it's a whole lot cheaper than buying it from the store.
I would
never
definitely
heard of
try
that.
that out. You got me with less sugar and less processed.
What? Look at that face. He went.
He's trying to imagine in his mind
And it's
how
funny
this
because
works.
I've seen the yogurt button on
Yes.
it before, but
And
I
you were
just
like,
kind of
why?
like, what? Who's making yogurt?
Right, in an Instapot.
Right.
But that is where you make it. And it basically sits overnight. It takes like that 8 hours or whatever else. And then you just cool it in the fridge and then you have your yogurt for when you want it. And to me, like, it's so much more healthy because there's
Right.
not all of that sugar.
So is it plain yogurt and then you
Plain
can add your
yogurt.
own
Add your
fruits and
fruits
stuff?
and
Okay.
stuff.
Yeah,
okay, I
add
got
your
you.
honey or whatever you want to do. All right, so whatever you're making this weekend, friends, chili, soup, enjoy, stay warm.
Sounds
Yes,
great.
tomorrow is the day to do that. I asked everybody on Facebook, give me that favorite kind of slow cooker meal that you have. Kathy Grant said Brunswick stew. We did it like my grandpa did. I do love Brunswick stew. Blair said chili because, and this is a key for me, I can always put the leftovers in the freezer.
Yes.
Perfect. Arlette Porter said love a Mississippi roast. Now I'm not familiar with what that is, so somebody needs to tell me. Catherine Osborne says roast with potatoes, onions, carrots, and celery. So dang good, and it's even better the next day. I agree with that, and add some hot sauce to it. Very good. Sandra says cabbage soup. I have had that before. It helps you lose weight, and it is yummy, she says.
It's good for like crash dieting too.
Yeah, I like cabbage.
Not
Some
that I
people
would
hate it.
promote
I
that,
love
but-
cabbage.
Yeah, like
Stew,
especially
best
during,
steam.
like St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah,
Corned beef and cabbage.
that'll work. That will work.
I really like the pot roast. I think that's a great slow cooker meal. My mom makes a really good pot roast. And then when I went to my sister's house for New Year's Eve, that's what we had. And I tore it up. It was so good.
roast
And
is
you
good.
just put it over some rice.
Yeah.
Have some cornbread on the side.
Leslie has
Great meal.
well, she have taco soup. She calls it.
I
so
like
it's
taco soup,
corn, you
yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
And then she puts it out in the big bowl with melted cheese on the top and those little scoops, Tostitos
Yeah.
scoops.
I'm a big fan of the chili, and the way that we do chili now is we do half Nice's hot sausage and then half ground beef, and it gives it a little bit more of a kick and a punch.
So you gave me the other recipe. Can you give me this recipe?
Yeah,
Okay.
the real chili recipe and then the white chicken
I
chili
want the
recipe.
white chicken chili.
I know we talked about the Instapot and then the
Crock
crock
pot.
pot. Have you all ever used a Dutch oven? You can use
No.
that as a crock
So
pot as
we
well.
just
Inside
got
the
one.
oven, it kind of cooks that way. So I made a stew a few weeks ago using my Dutch oven.
It's so even cooking. We just got one and we've only used it once, but you talk about a nice even, it's almost like the
That's like an
skillet.
adulting pan.
Yeah,
Yes,
I got
it
it for
sure
Christmas
is.
a few years ago, and I finally took it out to use it. I'm
We've
like,
only
I've
used
been
it twice.
missing out.
It's old school. All right, we'll be right back. You know, if we could just kind of block out the Saturday on the 7-day, it would be such a nice look. Yeah, it's going to be cold tomorrow. So we were in the 60s today, and you know, the other day, 80s the other day. Now we're dropping down. Tonight we'll probably stay in the 50s for the majority of the evening, but once we get into the overnight time period, we think we make it down to about 40 degrees. So probably about 6 or 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, we'll see the low 40s, but we only make it up to the mid 40s for tomorrow. So it is a cold, rainy day. A lot of the rain, the way the systems are stacking up, a lot of this is just literally going to go straight west to east. So as all of that moves across our state, we just kind of see that rain. We call that training. It just trains over the area over and over. And that's exactly what we'll see. You could really get a good idea with the high resolution futurecast here. Watch how all of it just continually moves west to east. It's not like a cold front that comes from the south and works its way north. Rain staying with us for the majority of the day on Saturday, maybe by early evening, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. tomorrow. See the rain start to taper down a little bit, maybe some breaks in the clouds, but it does look like it will be a rainy Saturday. Now Sunday, a leftover 30% chance of a shower, but I don't think we'll see a whole lot there 20% chance there. It's a 60% for Saturday, 20 on Sunday. We bounce back though up to 62. The normal high is mid 50s. So Monday 71, 30% chance again. And next week we're dry for Tuesday and Wednesday. Temperatures seem to hold. It looks like our overnight lows, thank goodness, they get warmer too and go to the 50s there. But for the most part, we're low to mid 60s for the rest of the work week after Monday, with dry conditions Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday. That's another system that'll move by. Doesn't affect us so much from a temperature standpoint. Lows in the upper 40s and low 50s, but highs will remain around 64 to 61. Rain chances 40% Thursday and a 50% on Friday.
Maybe you've liked the record warmth we have seen this week. You might have noticed what else has come with it. The bugs are back. Experts say they have seen a huge influx of bug activity over the past few weeks, both outside and inside. They expect to soon see an explosion of swarmers like flying termites, ants, and mosquitoes. That is apparently the technical word.
Swarmers.
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 And I can tell you firsthand, I got just this real dilemma I had the other day. I was, moving out of my apartment into my new place, and there was this bug inside on my wall that was like this big. It looked like a caterpillar, but much more intimidating, with like antennae sticking out everywhere.
Sounds like a house centipede.
It was black and just
Was it
scary
quick?
looking.
Was it fast?
Yeah, I didn't let it move.
Oh,
You didn't
those
let it
house
stay long.
centipedes
Right
are
away.
like zoop. That's what I was worried about. Whenever it gets warm like this, and a lot of those bugs,
hate
like
the
a stink
bugs.
bug, for example, they take shelter in the wintertime. But if they're getting tricked because it's 80 degrees
Right.
one day, they're gonna think it's summer and start buzzing on out. So I guess the best information is probably just to try to treat your home early, maybe?
Yeah, I don't mind ladybugs or stink bugs. They don't bother me because they don't do anything.
Right.
And I don't like ants. I definitely don't like bees, and I hate to say that because I know there's this thing with we got to keep the bee population up. But I will run from a bee.
I
in
don't
2
like
seconds.
any of them.
Spiders.
I don't like,
Ooh.
especially spiders. I don't care if it's this small, because
That's
my
right.
mind always goes to eggs. I don't want you
Oh.
laying eggs. So I've never been a spider person,
me
ever.
Is there a worse feeling than when you're like walking through the dark and then
Oh,
all of a
the
sudden you
web.
walk right into a web?
It's the worst.
Or even when it's light out and you just feel, this is me, like if I'm walking to my car in the parking lot, you're gonna see me running around because there's a spider web and I can't see it. Sorry that I had to get active,
have to
but
go.
you
I
know
would-
you do that too when you
I'd
run
pay
into
to
a
see
spider
that.
web. Get it off of me because it's true.
Oh, I got an update from John O'Brien regarding Standard General.
Eating my apple ice cold milk and Oreo cream.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 check check.
Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10.
I probably shouldn't say this, but one of the beauties of our friendship is that we're always honest with each other. So I'm just gonna say it. Sometimes reading the news is really depressing. There was another tragic shooting, another political stalemate with both sides refusing to work together, another bad contractor out there ripping people off. Our community has some issues we're working on, but there is also a lot of love and light in the Triad. I got a powerful reminder of it this week. Mom was admitted to the hospital with a bad infection, made worse because of her diabetes and lupus. She called me, barely able to get out the words that she was the sickest she'd ever felt. I let you guys know on Facebook I was flying home to be with her, and within a couple of hours, more than 1,500 people shared their concern and sent prayers and positive vibes. That's on top of all the text and calls and messages of folks who were kind enough to take the time to check in on us. Some even asking where they could send get well cards to Mom. Please know that every single one of your comments, it really means the world to me. In fact, when Mom was on oxygen and could barely talk, I sat beside her and read each one of your well wishes out loud. Knowing there's the terrific Triad tribe rallying behind her made a real difference. I wish you could have seen the way she perked up. After more than a week in the hospital, Mom is healing up at home and on the mend. We both know a huge part of the reason she's better is all of you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I will always remember your kindness. That's my 2 cents. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
Take a look at the radar. That green means a change in the forecast. Not just rain, but a big drop in temperature.